feel like an intro, but this season 2 could have been done in one, but felt I needed to. The perfection of our conception projected through reflection that's connected is a blessing, and I needed to. Plus I need a few moments just to speak to you about these individuals whose mission to deceiving you, saying the achievable is just so unachievable, but that's only conceivable if you say and believe it's true. Protect the presence of essence with the aggression of a guard dog. Did you forget you was a god, y'all? Maybe you need someone believing you. Well, damn it, I believe in you. Not cause I'm expecting perception, I can see me and you. There's power in the questions and lessons is what I teach to you. Injecting my perspective suggested, no, I don't preach to you. Rejecting that you less than forever, know that you equal to. But this really for my people though, cause evil grows inside of the kind of minds that are ego drove. So engulfed inside of they ride, they cannot see the road. They criticize your drive, apply, they won't even go. Cause fear and faith is the only thing in comparison. One requires courage, the other desires evidence. How can what was ever determine what never been? Then again, the devil is ignorance mixed with arrogance. But we are the conscious collective. And CC, so I hope you get the message. But we are the conscious collective. Or CC, so I hope you get the message. Welcome.
Yeah, that feel good right there, but welcome. Thank you. You are too kind. You are what they call too kind. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your guy Q. I'm your host Q, and the show is There's Power in the Question. Information is information, and I'm your guy Q doing our thing in season 2. Because I do it for the kids. What's going on with y'all, man? I've had a day. How y'all feeling? I'm feeling alright. Oh, I don't want to show nothing. If kids watch, you know what this is. This is, what is it? Jesus juice. So I'm gonna try to do an episode today. The recording part of it makes it a little difficult, I'm not gonna lie. If you heard last week's episode or last episode, the backdoor theory with the question mark, you guys see how I try to make my approach. I try to make the approach where I'm always coming from that place of giving the understanding that I'm trying to give to people. You know, whether it's the concept of saying that we're at a war, we're in a war. Whether you're in a war with yourself, consciously trying to figure out who you are instead of the manipulated version of yourself. Let me take these headphones off. What I'm trying to explain basically is saying that you're at war. You're currently in this war. Whatever you're going through. You could be going through a war internally. That doesn't stop the war outside of yourself. So if you guys listen to my story time with Q, if you listen to any of the chapters and you see some of the struggles I go through, and you see I wrap it all the way around to show you that everything you go through is a part of your journey. So when you're at war and you're going through a war with yourself, you're trying to figure out who you are. You notice a lot of time I tell a lot of the stories from when I was a kid. So that's when you're developing. That's what I call you, a little deity. So you're trying to figure out who you are. So when you're going through that war internally and trying to figure out who you are, these kids are doing stuff you don't want to do. They doing something that looks fun, but you think it's not safe. You're trying to figure all this out, and somebody comes up and punch you in the face. Just because you are going through war does not mean you're not in one also externally. So what I'm saying is, you have to first figure out who you are. At least this is my belief. This is the way I see it. So you have to first figure out who you are as a person. That's your first war to win. That's the first one. And that should be most easy because, as I tell you, you are God. You have all the power. So once you get past that war, now you can pay attention to the external war. It becomes more clear. You can see that, hold on, bro, what you hitting me in my face for? Like, no, we been have to throw these, man. Like, you know, no, I tell you that I feel like you can beat your bully. You know, I fucking hate bullies. I was told I became one, but that's neither here nor there. So when I'm telling you, you're at a war. So season 1 is about knowledge of self. So that's the war within you. That's the one you got to deal with. Season 2, we get into wisdom. Now it's the concept of, you know who you are. Let's start trying to figure this shit out now as us. Because we were just told to do things this way, and we never thought about it because it was a pattern placed there through what I would have told you in last episode, if you listen to it, the backdoor theory, where it's basically someone's repeating things to you. As I told you, words are messengers or messiahs. So people are repeating things to you in this manipulation, delivering falsehoods or coming as false prophets, but giving it to you for you to believe. So they say things to you repeatedly, so you start internalizing the repetition of it to the point where it becomes so common you start to believe it. You believe it so much you believe that it's you. And that's how you seep in with the backdoor theory, where I get you to do it here and you'll do that in other situations. I'm trying to get you so deeply that when it radiates through who you are, it radiates through different options. Now, that may sound crazy. Okay, let me see if I can explain it to you like this. I have an old theory too. I can use an old theory. So I have a theory that I used to tell people. I said, in this country at least, I've only lived in America. So at least in my country, I've seen it that we've been trained to find a difference and to hate one another or fight one another. So it's like, it's a poet named Black Ice. He said, you took all of our soldiers for the cause and made them kill us for no reason. And it's an old poem from Def Poetry Jam. I love poetry. I do poetry too. So Black Ice says, he said, you took all of our messengers, made them rappers, flapping their jaws too afraid to admit their treason. You took all of our soldiers for the cause and made them kill us for no reason. So when I listen to the poem and I think about what he's saying, I'm looking at it as the way I see all of this is all creation. Now granted, if you're here now, this is season 2. So we already here. So if you not caught up, go listen to season 1. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn. You can find me. There's power in the question. Information is information. Get caught up. We got over 25 episodes prior to this, and I think this is episode 12 now. So let's get back to the point. So when I'm telling you the backdoor theory and when I use the Black Ice poem, what I'm saying is, if someone knows what to seep in and show you something repeatedly, it can cause you to act it out. And I believe we are taught that in the concept of finding the difference, no matter what it is. It could be one total thing that we have different from each other. We use that to fight each other. It doesn't make sense. Not in my opinion. Not the way I see the world. Like if you listen to, I forgot which episode, but it's called Bonding or Reacting. Yeah, that's the episode. Bonding or Reacting is in season 2 also. So in that episode, I'm breaking down how the elements work. Oh yeah, I'm a nerd. I got a lot of information. I can break down a lot of stuff for y'all. I was thinking about doing something now, but it's probably not going to fit to the story, because today I want to show you what I'm talking about when I always say reflections. So reflections in creation. I can show you these patterns, these reflections. This is what I'm saying. Everything that happened has to have a reflection. Nothing can exist without its opposite. That's the creation we're stuck in. At least that's how I see it. If you know something else, please tell me. I'd love to talk to you about it. So anyway, so with the backdoor theory, how it's being applied is you're being taught to find the difference, no matter how few they may be. You may have one difference and 500 similarities, but that difference causes you to fight each other. And I used to give people this analogy where I would tell them that, think about going to the Olympics, right? You go to the Olympics. You're in the Olympics. We're all in there. USA, USA, fuck that country, fuck China, fuck all them. Yeah, damn it, this is America. Fuck everybody else. We are Americans. But you found a versus outside of yourself. It's country versus country. So then a person like me, how I see the world, will be leaving the Olympics and I see you, I'm like, oh, what up, bro? USA. You be like, man, go on. No, I don't know you. He's like, no, man, you from California. I'm from Illinois. He'd be like, okay, I thought we was USA, but okay. So you get, y'all get on y'all plane. Let's imagine we get on the plane. So now y'all get on y'all plane. Y'all get on your plane. You like, what up, bro? We going to Illinois. He like, no, pimp, I'm from Peoria. You from Chicago. You like, oh shit, I thought we was both Illinois, but okay, cool, fuck it. So then you get on your plane, and now y'all on the Chicago plane. Everybody going to Chicago on this plane. Oh, you go over there. What up, bro? What up, sis? Chicago. We repping Chicago. They like, nah, fuck all that. You from the south side. I'm from the west side. You like, okay, cool. All right, fuck it. So, all right, you see, you get on your little, now you all on the bus, because I don't think you need to catch a plane from the west side to the south side of Chicago. Anyway, so now y'all on the bus, and y'all on the bus on y'all way all to Chicago. So you go like, oh, what up, bro? You know, we all going over there to the south side of Chicago. You know, the west side dudes ain't fuck with us. So what up, bro, south side? He like, nah, homie, I'm from the low end. You from over there, out south. Oh shit, I ain't know. So the south side became an out south, a low end, and don't forget about the wild hunters. I was like, oh shit. So you get over there, like, oh, what up, bro? You know, we all, I guess, south side of Chicago. No, pimp, I'm a GD. You a Blackstone. You be like, damn, okay, all right, cool. You get to a guy, oh, what up, Blackstone, bro? All is well, bro. So you talk to you like, no, pimp, I'm by none. You a Wakita head, or you a Pop head, or you Titanic, you Jet Black. You be like, all right, man, we all over here, we all Jet Black. Now, homie, I'm from Justine, you from Laughlin, down to the block. This is what I mean when I'm telling you I'm watching it. The reason I can speak so much from when I'm a kid is to show you how primal this seems to me. The reasons we fight each other. The reason that it's weird that I do this show and tell you I love you and I never met you. The reason I can tell you you are a god and I can prove it to you. And it's weird. You're like, man, you should be trying to do this to make some money. If I'm helping somebody, that's success to me. And I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds weird to you. How many people probably heard that and went, get the fuck out of here. That motherfucker just ain't making no money. That's what the fuck wrong with him. He need to get his paper straight. God damn, what the fuck wrong with him? And I get you. It's the world we live in. This is how we see things. People being genuine. And the thing is, when people think of genuine, most people you think would probably say, oh, if they were being genuine, they would be fucked up. That's how we see ourselves, because we always have a versus. And when you got all those layers put there, and what I would call the backdoor theory, it's the way they used it to make you find the difference to fight. Imagine if you are prey. Imagine if you are the prey. And then the predator just cuts you up in so many different territories that you're fighting amongst each other. It's the art of war. Divide and conquer. And what I'm saying is, if they've already put those layers there, that's how many layers are there, all the way from the Olympics down to which block, you find a way to fight your other element, your other piece of the puzzle, your other ingredient to the dish. We are all connected. We are all better together. We are all stronger together. But we find a way to fight each other. And I believe, in the way I see it at least, I have enough faith in you to believe that you had to be manipulated to do this. That's how I see it. There's no other reason that makes sense to me other than you've been manipulated to hate your reflection. And I can show how it's just so connected all the way through, that simple thing placed in you through the back door, what I would call manipulation, where you weren't paying attention to it. They were showing it to you in another way. They were showing it to you in a movie. They were showing it to you in the way you go to school. They were showing it to you in a TV show. They were showing it to you in school. They showed it to you though. And they showed it to you so repeatedly to where you fell in line to that pattern. And you just did the same thing that you saw. You didn't have the individuality to just say, how do I actually feel about this? You know, I tell people, when I was coming up, they was like, oh yeah, you love the Bulls because I'm from Chicago. They're like, oh, you love the Bulls. I like Michael Jordan. Then when Michael Jordan went there, I like basketball now. Then LeBron, I was like, yeah, he cool, whatever. Around year 4, I was like, I rock with LeBron. Hey, wherever LeBron go, I'm going. And cats be like, how you go? You live in Chicago. How you not a Bulls fan? I was like, what kind of slave thinking is that? That don't even make sense to me. Because I live here, I have to root for the team that was placed here by some billionaire? What kind of... So you said I shouldn't think for myself. You said I should think exactly how you said I should think, because that's how you think. And why do you even think that way? Well, I live over here. If you live somewhere, especially like how I came up, your first enemy was where you live. Your first enemy was from where you live. And in a lot of cases, they look like you. Your first bully, your first fight, your first heartbreak. All those things are there also. They're there with your first love. They're there with your first friend. They there when you had your first time. You feel me? But they always there. It's always at that place. So what makes me have loyalty to them? Have they shown loyalty to me? It doesn't make sense to me. And it's things like that, when I see it, I be like, am I weird for saying it this way? And then when I have a conversation with somebody, they always telling me like, man, the way you said it blew my mind. I couldn't believe when I saw it that way. And I'm like, dude, we have to be manipulated. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. We have to be manipulated at some place to just sit there and say, I'd rather fight who's there in front of me, who's there beside me, who's there behind me, who's there with me. Why do you have to put a versus between two reflections? There are other options. If you don't like something from a reflection, instead of putting a versus between a reflection, put a minus sign. There you go. If you really enjoy your time with another reflection, put a plus sign between those two reflections. Let's add that together. That's addition. Let's get that. You really enjoy it, you can put a multiplication sign between two reflections. Let's bring another person in this together. How are we anything other than stronger together? So you had to be manipulated, or I have enough faith in you to believe that you had to be manipulated for this to be how we're doing each other. And they could be wrong because they have the imagery of it, but I see it too much. I see it in my day-to-day too much. You know how many times I argue? I argue with guys when they sit there and talk about, no, women got to do this, and then the women this, and then the women, it's their fault. They ain't shit. And I told you, I believe women are a reflection. So if you sit there and say, oh, this woman, she ain't shit, and she your woman, she's your reflection. Unless you got somebody else mirror, like, what are you doing? Now, if they not for you, they not for you. I get it. They not for you, move around. That's when you put that subtraction sign between those two reflections. Go ahead, move around. They not for you. But if they yours, and they ain't shit, what they say about you? But I can be the weird guy. And my theories like that with the Olympics and how I can show it to you. I can show you the levels of it when I'm telling you that, oh, they're speaking to you so deeply that it's vibrating through multiple levels. Find a reflection to fight. It's just instilled in you. Some way is just there for you to just fight. But we were just this to say, we were all Americans at one point. And then the Olympics over, why are we not? What is taking our focus from we are something to, oh, you're not what I am anymore? Somebody has to be greater than, somebody has to be less than. But maybe I'm just weird. Maybe I'm living in a fantasy. Maybe I'm living in the Matrix. You know how they say we be living in simulations and stuff? I like all the stories. I like everybody's stories. But you know what's real crazy? Because I haven't really been talking to people that much lately. I've been doing the show. This is my, if anybody wanted to talk to me about something, have one of those conversations I used to have with people. I know I ain't had them in some years now, a few years. But I hopefully you find this video. Hopefully it's somebody that's in the world that may need one of these type of conversations just to be listening and go, I mean, he making a good point. Like, yeah, I did. I never looked at it like that. Maybe you need that. Maybe that's the motivation you need. I'm not saying I'm greater than. I'm not saying I'm about to give you some amazing answer to all the questions and you can think about it. Then a truck gonna pop up. The truck you always wanted. I'm not gonna tell you that. What I'm gonna tell you is I see that you're at war. And I'm going to try to help you by giving you a nudge. Think of it like that. Like, hey, bro, do you see homie punch you in your face? So that's if I see something, I'm going to say something because that's the way I look at the world. And what's crazy is I get sent videos, right? Like the social media videos that a lot of people get. You probably get if you don't listen to me now, you probably definitely get them. So I get these videos from people, they send them to me, and the videos be like, yeah, man, so if I think it, it just happened. And then that's because our Kundalini energy come down from our sacral form, and then your pineal glands is like a burning bush, and that's why Moses was talking to the burning bush. I'll be like, the bush? What happened? Yeah, you got to get it from, and then they tell you that it's satellites in the air. Who put them up there? Because if the universe is constantly expanding and it's a satellite up there, so it should be moving. How is just sitting still? Brother, we in a dome. That's what it really is. We really in a dome. They don't want you to know that. Even in the Bible, it talks about the four corners of the earth. These are videos I get. People send this to me. And I wonder, like, is that how I sound to y'all? Seriously, like, okay, it's just us. Okay, we just here. We family. We family. So, is that how I sound? Oh man, that'd be tough. You gotta be like, yeah, that's that shit you be saying. Like, I use real science. I use real religion. I'm just telling you a perspective. The craziest thing I probably say to you, or that sound crazy to you, is that you are God. That might be the craziest thing, but prove me wrong. Tell me something I said. That's what I always tell people. If I sound crazy, yeah, leave me a comment. You can follow the Instagram, TPQ_III. You can follow the TikTok. I think you just got to search That's Power in the Question at QMOED5. I think that's my TikTok. Hey, prove me wrong. Send me something. I'll love to reply to you. And it's going to be no malice, because it doesn't always have to be a versus between reflections. We don't have to let them get us like that. But I was just wondering, like, man, do I sound like that to people? Like I'm just saying some crazy stuff? Like, man, actually outer space is underwater. I'm like, and I'm not saying it's crazy like they don't have their research. I feel the same way about religion. I feel the same way about science. You do all these numbers of shit you made up and then guess on what happened based on how much information you can put together that you get from another you. All this shit is guessing. We all just guessing. None of us know. Unless a motherfucker go look, come back, yeah, now they know. But when they tell you, you don't know. You just know what they told you. Because in my opinion, most people don't believe in God. They believe in man. And a lot of times people be like, I don't believe in God. It's not that they don't believe in God. They just don't believe in man. That's the problem. Man is the middleman and put itself in between you and your connection to the Most High, or the God, or the whatever you want to call it, the universe, whatever. I don't care what you call it. It is what it is. You ever thought of that? No matter what you think something is or may be, it is exactly what it is. So I can say I believe you are God. You cannot believe it. Okay. Why should what you think impede on someone else? I always tell you, you are God, but your power is just over you. I think I'm proving everything I'm saying. And I got more stuff to come. Oh, I got some stuff written today, because I just digressed and we've been talking for a little while. So don't have me get into all that. But yeah, I just think that we get caught up. We get caught up in this fight of whatever was put there. And I just think that we're more amazing and more capable, and in my opinion, stronger together. And I'm just trying to, maybe one day if I could say something to the right person and change their life, they go like, man, why have I been putting a verses between the reflection? Why do I hate somebody that I never met because of what somebody else said? See the backdoor theory concept of the middleman getting in the way. So you do that there because you're doing it all the time. But I just think people believe more in things outside of themselves instead of themselves, because that's the only thing that makes sense. Because I can prove to you that you are amazing, and it's in reflection, everything. And when I say reflect, it's the same thing with the layers and the backdoor theory. So when I'm saying reflection, what I mean is the same way it's happening, the way you see it, the pattern you see, where you can be like, oh, you go on a walk with your lady, and then you see two animals walking together, side by side. You play fight with your lady and you see, and y'all know I like lions, so you see lions playing on a Animal Planet or Smithsonian Channel or wherever you watch your lions play, and you see how they play and have fun together, and you see that we're both doing the same thing. We're doing it differently, but we're doing the same thing. And you can see that connection. Like, oh, the females are like this and the males are like this, and you see the connection in yourself, right? That's what I mean when I'm always saying that it's also reflective, and that's the reflection of it. You know, you getting out exactly what you put in. And for anything to exist, it has to have its opposition to exist. I just think people focus so much on what other people think about them, and these other people probably don't even think about them. But you get so caught up in caring what these strangers may think of something because it makes you happy. And you wonder why you mentally unstable. You wonder why you feel like you have split personalities, because you're fighting who you are versus who you think you should be based on what some other people told you, or what other people say, or what other people do. You have to value yourself first. That's what I'm telling you. You are a god. You are the only you. You're $100 billion diamond. That's what I equate your worth to. Because there's no other you in the entire world. You're the only you. How is there anything other than valuable? Yet you would let other people's perspective and ideals affect you so much that you fighting a war internally that they've now infiltrated. You can't even figure out the war inside of yourself of what do I like, what do I do, what do I want at this moment, who am I at this moment? Because so many people say, oh, you should be this, you should do this, you should say this, you should wear this, you shouldn't do that. How could someone tell you what you should or should not do, how you should or should not feel? Because you are God, so no one can tell you how to God in your existence. Somebody can tell you what they want, but they can't tell you what you should be or what you have to do to be something. It's like someone telling you, oh, a real man would do this, or a real woman would do this. That's their opinion. They're entitled to have it. But how does it make sense for someone who's never done it to tell you how to do it? Does that make sense to you? They don't have the experience of being said real man or said real woman. They're either making it up or basing it off how someone else got. You the only you. They may not be for you. That can be the case. They can want what they want, and they have that right. You already got to work hard enough being yourself. You gonna work double time trying to be somebody else? You think you're gonna get to happiness like that? Maybe you can, I just can't see it, in my opinion. So they can tell you what they want. It doesn't make it your responsibility to be that. They can want what they want, but that doesn't make it always good for them. Shit, I want some candy. I want some of this drink. Trying to cover the label. And if any kids watching, you know what that was? Jesus juice. Y'all know how we do it. So, like, yeah, you can want some candy. You can want some liquor. You can want some, what they call junk food. But is it good for you? Will it be good for you in the long run? Would it be beneficial to you in the long run? But you got what you want. You got exactly what you wanted. Sometimes what you want isn't always good for you. What do you need? I'm gonna ask you again. What do you need? Why don't your needs come first? Because that's your first responsibility. You should always be number one. Your needs should always come first. Because if you don't take care of yourself first, how can you be a good partner? How can you be a good parent? How can you be a good friend? How can you be a good lover? How can you be a good helper? How can you be a good anything if you're not taking care of yourself first? And there's no one else's responsibility for yours. So their wants are not your responsibility. It's theirs to get what they want. You should be you. And if somebody wants you, that's a beautiful thing. There's this song. So the song I heard is, I don't know if it's a full song. It was I heard it was like a little small clip of it. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to play the clip of it so y'all can hear what they said. It's not that long of a clip. I think it's less than 15 seconds. But I'm hoping, I don't know, I'm hoping that I can keep it on the channel, like it doesn't get me flagged or anything like that, because it's somebody else's music. It's just the Instagram post. So the picture is, it's a picture of a woman, and she has like a storm in one eye and like lightning in a planet or something like that in the other eye, with like a tear running down her face, or tears running down her face. And the guy spits his verse. So I'ma play that, and then I'm going to tell you what I wrote to it. I'm not going to play the instrumental because I think that'd be going too far. So I'm going to just play a little thing. Give me a second.
So unprotected, so disrespected. I apologize for the disconnection that society has taken you from being the mother of nature to being misneglected. Maybe in time we'll get the message. You provided light with your darkness. We miss your presence. Andrea.
That's beautiful. That was beautiful. To me. Let me take these headphones off again. So that was beautiful to me. I thought everything that brother was saying was amazing. I appreciate it. It was a good song in my opinion. The message behind it. And I love the image. I'm going to put the image up. So I'm going to have it definitely show. Maybe while it's playing. But just listening to him, so unprotected, so disrespectful, I was like, yeah. So immediately, I know you guys know I rap and do poetry. So I put a little bars or something together, you know. My guy Jay said, you got this damn show, now you just about to start rapping. I told you, hey, I can spit, don't play with me because I'll let y'all know. But I put a little something to it, and I just said, it's so reckless how you view with no discretion. Twerking in these males' presence isn't your present. Lessons to be learned with no direction. The enemy is not me, but the entity that deceives and gets you pregnant. Open your thighs and you let him inside. When he promises blessings, you don't collect them, then I'm who you get upset with. Redirected to the society, tries and destroys your essence. The serpent continues to offer the apple, but it's infection. I told y'all, hey, told y'all I'm gonna rap. Y'all here we family. So I'm gonna get into the message. I'm gonna get into the story. This is about reflection in creation. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you how it's saying that everything that happens is happening on different layers. At least the way I see it. Maybe that's the crazy shit that I say, because I say everything happens in layers. But prove me wrong. That's all I'm saying. If you think I'm wrong, prove me wrong, or just enjoy my story, and I love to hear yours. Doesn't have to be a verses. So anyway, let me get some more of this Jesus juice. I know this. So remember I told y'all everything is reflective in creation. So the woman is the reflection to the Mother Earth. That's why if you plant a seed in a healthy soil and nurture it properly, it will produce plants that can produce more seeds that can be used. Or it will produce plants that are useful in a myriad of ways. You guys got your Impossible Burgers now and everything. They got the tofurkey. They got all that stuff. They like, this is all plant-based. I got plant-based restaurants now. So the seeds are useful and so are the plants. But depending on how you treat Mother Earth will determine how she treats you. If you pollute her atmosphere because you want something now, but you didn't think of the possible effects, you will get weather changes, global warming, greenhouse effect, rivers drying up, and things like that. And if you break her to put what you want there, it is your responsibility to take care of what you place there, or it will become garbage. And if it becomes garbage, that means you just broke her to put trash there. That doesn't seem like appreciating everything Mother Earth gives you. Yes, there are rainy days, cold days, cloudy days, earthquakes, and those are like the emotions she has. And I'm sure we can all understand having emotion. Like science says, energy can't be destroyed or dissipated or eradicated, only transferred, which means it will exist. It will always exist. Her emotions, that is, just like the weather changes. So if something will exist that cannot be destroyed, I think a productive try would be to manage it. But after first taking responsibility for your contributions to those emotions or natural disasters. Because to me, if that planet or Mother Earth was created to be exactly what she is and do exactly what she does, and I get it, we try to figure out the how of it with science, but science can't tell you why, because science didn't create it. They didn't create Mother Earth. Remember I told you guys in season 1, if you guys, YouTube family, y'all, this season 2, so we very far. We got a lot. It's a lot. You can really go get caught up. Definitely go check out the show. That's Power in the Question. Information is information. Go check out the audio. So many episodes, so much to catch up on. But in season 1, I have this analogy where I use, remember I told you all that I believe that creation is made up of three-letter words to find out what's in existence. First question is why? Then you find its reflection, which is the answer. And you can only find that through work. The second question is how. And once you find how after you find why, and of course you have to find their reflections, which is the answer, and you find the answer through work. But once you have the why and the how and their reflections, now you know what's in creation. You know what exists. And I know that sounds a little crazy, just trying to condense that. Go check out the show. Trust me, it's a good ride. It's so much. I don't know if it's better, but it's a different show. Even last week episode, if you listen to the Backdoor Theory on the audio versus watching it on YouTube, it's a different story. The second half is very different. They're both good. I like the audio better. I'm just being honest. Maybe you want to look at me. Maybe you think I'm cute. Hey, maybe you think I'm ugly, but you like my message. So shouts out to you too. So I really think you guys should check out and get caught up, because a lot of stuff I may say may sound a little weird, but you could be with me, and I like that. If you're weird too, what up to you? So that's just how I did it with the three-letter words, and you couldn't do any of these things. You couldn't do the why or the how without the ask. So you have to first do something, and sometimes even that doing, the first thing you do is just to ask a question. And that's why I say there's power in the question. That's why I always try to get you to ask a question in a place you never asked a question before. Because once you create the question, everything that exists has to have a reflection. So the answer is out there. It's just the work you're willing to put in to find it. But that's just how I see it. Because I never said it would be easy. I'm just saying it's worth it. And I think anything that's worth anything would be worth working for. At least in my opinion. But I digress. So science, they didn't create the planet or Mother Earth. But science does what a lot of people do and what every religion does. They observe through their perception. They have ideas, create a perspective in which they believe, but they perpetuate it as fact. Because if those natural disasters are inevitable, why did you break ground and build things in that place just to blame Mother Earth for being herself, when she gives you all the opportunities for everything you need to live? So Mother Earth, she's great, but you put your ideas and or desires over the facts of what is, then blame her for her reaction. See, I'm a man managing anything necessary, which includes the responsibilities of my actions, because I believe we are gods and the earth was gifted to us, just like Adam from the Bible was tasked with tending to the garden, and he was gifted Eve as a helpmeet. And as I tell you guys from season 1, your God power is only autonomous over you, and it shouldn't impede on another God. So how you treat others has a ripple effect. But if you only think about the surface, you're like a 9-year-old with a fully loaded gun off with its safety off. You're a walking disaster waiting to happen if you don't learn the extent of your capabilities. But that's just my opinion. So back to the analogy. So I'm a man managing anything necessary, and as a God, I deem what's necessary to me, at least. But what if we are called man as people? Like, man is a term for all people, because our woman that was given to us to be our helpmeet was the earth. And as I always say, I believe that women are our reflections. It's like having a mirror. So if you have that mirror and you look into that mirror is going to help you meet yourself, because that mirror is going to show you parts of yourself that you couldn't see without it. So some people may focus on who's better, but that subsequently creates a concept to focus on of who's worse. I just disagree with that approach, because as I told you, what you put in between two reflections just shows who you are. But the truth is, neither could exist without the other. So the earth was put here by a creator. We have no power over that. And just like man was put here by a creator, we have no power over that. What we do have power over is ourselves and what we choose to do. Remember, I used the analogy with the devil, and I was like, oh, you take the D from the devil, you got evil. If you take one of the O's from good, you left with God, and you left with D-O. What you choose to do is up to you. I got sayings. I got quotes too, man. I'm making merchandise. I got a bunch of these. But I just use that to show you that you are God, and you have the power of choice to decide what to do. Just like I tell you in a poem, my poem Love or Convenience, I made an episode about it where I wrap the episode around the poem and I say the poem. So in Love or Convenience, I say, any truly valuable possession will need to be taken care of in a special way. So if you treat Mother Earth good, she'll give you more opportunities to have a better life. She will give you more opportunities to live better. The air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat. But if man doesn't tend to her properly, so why would you blame her instead of taking responsibility for the actions you chose? But as a God with the power of choice, no matter what you've done, yesterday is every moment, not this one. And you can choose today to do something different because you have all the power. But that's just me. That's just how I see it. And that's why I tell you at the end of every show, don't let your past bully your present into becoming your future. Because what they call pure is tampered with. The cure can't answer it. You're lost in a world looking for answers that's answerless.
Look, man, this show finna change, y'all. Spoon fed long enough, now it's game on. Flame on, Johnny Storm with his napalm. Stay calm, yeah, strong, but it ain't on. Excuse me? But there's power in the question. You'll see that the power's in your essence. Confuse me? But I found it impressive. I constantly responded and found a reflection. Is also reflective. Now tell me what is info. Disregard, you don't know what your info. Start saying you a god playing limbo. That shit had you at odds with your kinfolk. You telling me kicking God cause I'm in rote. Forgive me, but it's hard to compress all his knowledge of self and astonishing in post. To invoke, I'm a god that's within quotes. I've been dope and my conscience a big hoax. Accuse me if you think that I'm wrong when I speak with my boss, but this is his show. But this is his show.